everyone, how are we doing? Making sure everything gets started up here. Thacker, good to see you. Abigail, good to see you. Roger, good to see you. Thacker, Allie, Abigail Houston, good to see you. I see Tiffany had the first question. Can we go over Chapter 4 quiz today? You bet we can do some Chapter 4 quiz. My first question, when comparing the box plots to two groups, which of the following should be done? Definitely, I think Allie, because we've been doing this in 474, we're going to start with, I think, Allie's. We're going to do a little 474 here to start. The question number 2, right? Was it question number 2, Allie, you were wondering about? On the quiz, right? Is that correct, Allie? Good to see you again, Justin. Question number 2 on the quiz, right? Let me go grab that. Enter the value of the 300th element in sequential ratio, right? Enter the value of the 300th element in sequential ratio, which is number 3. This one is the acquisition cost, and we're doing a sequential ratio right here. Okay, let's go check out the sequential ratio right here. Is this the one, Allie? Enter the 300th element of sequential ratio. Then we're going to do one of the homework questions. Is this the one people want to do? Sorry about that. It's a busy day. Oh my gosh, so busy. How's that sound? Enter the 300th element of sequential ratio. Yes, no, maybe? Well, I need to put on live chat. It defaults to top chat. 300th element. Going once. Going twice. That's fine, Taylor says. Okay, cool. Awesome. Come on, R, work well. Here we go. Let's do a little for loops right here. 300th element of sequential ratios. Let's do it. Look, there's a new topic right here. 300th element of sequential ratios for the acquisition vector. So make sure you have the vector loaded up to the global environment right here. So right now you'll notice I'm loading all chunks above. This is because there is the environment load, and we have here acquisition costs. So acquisition costs is a vector of the cost of acquisitions. And I hate the way it looks when it does that. We'll try to make it look all nice and pretty here. That's a graphics error. So with this right here, you can see all the acquisition costs. And now what we want to do is a sequential ratio. Let's figure out about this. Print to the screen the elements, blah, 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 blah. And the last element of sequential ratio. Also print the results of the summary on sequential ratio. So with this, consider the acquisition cost vector in the global environment, which records the effects amount of money it took a company to acquire an individual customer, using a for loop to find the elements of a vector named sequential ratio. So let's create this first. How am I going to create sequential ratios with nothing in it? How am I going to create sequential ratios with nothing in it? I'm just going to create this as a placeholder thing with nothing in it. And how do I do that? So that its first element equals 1. Well, we could do that. So its first element equals 1, and its second element is the second element divided by the first. We could do NAs. It says create it so the first one is 1. Well, there we go. So the first one is 1. It says make it so the first one is 1, and we just stored there. It says the first element is equal to 1. Its second element is the second element of acquisition cost divided by the first. Okay, so let's do what it says. Its second element right here, that's first. Its second element is the second element of acquisition cost. Its second element is the second element of acquisition cost divided by the first. So we want to go here and go to second element of the acquisition cost divided by the first. Okay, does that look correct? How are we looking, everybody, right here? This says store into sequential ratio. We stored into it 1 in position 1, and then the second element of sequential ratio is the second element of sequential ratio divided by the first. How are we looking on this right here? Because we're about to see something in a second. How are we looking? How are we looking on this? Pretty good? Thoughts? Because now we're almost to something very important. Pay attention as you're about to see it. Divided by the first, its third element is the third element of acquisition cost divided by the second, etc. So when we go here to the third element, it's the third element divided by the second. And what do you notice? What do you notice we've done right here? Take a look at the screen and be like, oh, wait a minute. I need someone to help me out. Because what have we just done right here? By writing it this way, what have we done? And I guess technically, no, we won't do that. You just created the skeleton. Right job. Great job there, Coop. 20 points. We have just created the skeleton So with the skeleton being created, let's go and grab one of these and turn this into a skeleton right here, 4, and let's go right here, and we have now here 2, 2, 2, 1. So when we think about this, we want to go through all the elements of acquisition cost. So acquisition cost has in it 500 elements. So with this right, you're right, Abby, we're just adding 1 right there, Abigail, we're just adding 1. And so now think about this. What number is this going to start at? Now be careful, there's a lot of ways to do this. When we do the acquisition cost, we're going to start either at 2 or 1. So which one do you think we should start at? That's going to determine the end of the vector. Which one would you like to start at? Which one would you like to start at, 2 or 1? Either one's good. Which one number would you like to start at here? Now that we have our skeleton, let's start at, we got, it's between 1 and 2. 2 wins out. We're going to start at 2, and then we're going to go all the way through what? As we do this repetitively, we're going to go all the way to what? We're going to go through 2 through what? 2 through what? And that I would say that right there, Coop. I'd probably do it this way. You could do it with 1. It would just change the way you index it. So we're going to start at 2 and go all the way through what? We're going to go all the way through what? As we do this repetitively for all of them, 500, which is actually the length of acquisition costs. The length of acquisition costs is 500. 2 through the length of acquisition costs is 2 through 500. And so when we think about this right here, we're then going to replace wherever 2 is at. Let's just call this with I, and this will become I. This will become I. Now be careful. What is 1 going to become? Great job, Tiffany. Excellent work, Tiffany. We'll be doing some 2 on here very soon, very soon. What is 1 going to become? Because remember, this was 2, so it's I now. This was 2, so it's I now. So what does 1 become? 1 becomes what? What will 1 become? If you look at the way the skeleton looks, you can always see that this number is what? Great job, Taylor, right there. It's always 1 minus I minus 1. It's just 1 less. So if you look, this was 2, this was 2, this is 1, this is 3, this is 3, this is 2. So it's always just whatever I is minus 1. And you know what? We might have done it. Sequential ratio might be complete right there. Ooh, pretty interesting sequential ratio. It's in scientific notation. Print to the screen these elements sequential ratio. So if we want to print to the screen these elements and the last element, really, we could have just said 500th. So the 500th element right here. And I didn't concatenate these. We need to concatenate that. Up. And there's the elements. Print to the screen and run a summary on the sequential ratio. And print the results of running summary on sequential ratio. Sequential ratio right here. And there's the summary. Whoa, max is, wow, that's a big one right there. And I think that's got it. Let me see right here. Enter the 300th element. So if you're following along, I might not show the answer to this one. I might make you go find the answer. I'm going to confirm my answer here real quick. I'm going to confirm my answer. And then I'm going to have you go find the answer and try writing the code yourself. Even though I have it written here, let me go see if I have the answer. I should. Yep. Answer's good to go. That's got it. If you are following along, you should have the answer, and you've got a lot of the code here. So it's a good help for this one. And these do just take practice. We did this in about 7 or 8 minutes. Did anyone do this one before office hours? It seems really quick. It's like, oh, that's easy. I got this. But the whole point here is writing the skeleton, getting it to work, and then putting it into the for loop, and then getting the for loop to go through the vectors. So it can take 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do this, and you can get stuck very quickly. So we have basically the answer right here. Take a while and try coding it yourself, but don't just copy what I have here on the screen. Don't copy. Go through the steps we did. If you're watching this right now and you've skipped straight to this part, go back, follow through the steps, write the skeleton, and then go ahead and find the parts of the code we're working with right here. Scott, we're going to do one more from the homework here. So let's go check out the homework. We're going to hop here and do a new topic. I shouldn't have said that. That's my keyword to find in videos later. I think, which one do people want to do from the 474 homework? Hey, Brian, can we go over 7C on the 474 due tonight? Do we want 8C or 7C? So let's do 8C or 7C. So let's say which one. It's if you are here now, you get to vote, and then we're going to do a little 201. 8C or 7C. I'm going to put it in the top of the chat. So you get to vote 8C or 7C. What is ever winning out moments later will be. Coop is already voting 7. You should see us appear here, Coop, in a moment. Go ahead and vote at the top of the chat and vote for which one you want. Ooh, it's a 50-50 split. Might be a toss-up for Brian to pick. Vote now. I should have put like I'm 201. This cracked me up. I'm going to put this in the background here. I need to show this to Chelsea. Wait. There we go. Rabbit saying, have you tried chewing on the cable? Spicy hay for those rabbits there. Spicy hay. Have you tried chewing on the cable? I have sad news. We will not be extending the assignments. We were having an email talk, and they're like, if we extend the assignments, it really puts the standard out there, especially at the start. The assignments get extended, and people then wait to the last day. And even though today is a football game, the goal is that people start early if there are big things on this night. So the goal is not with all the time to start right on the day it's due. So we had the email communication. I sent it out. And then it was like, well, if we start extending now, then it's like, okay, wait, there's a game this week or there's a holiday this week. But always start early. Start early, early, early. And are people asking about, we're talking about this homework, right? This homework. Let's go grab this homework. Okay, almost got it up. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm still gone, aren't I? Where's that rabbit at? I gotta see it. It's spicy. I love that. I love that right there. Can we go over our scores from the lab? I think we're still hiding those right there. Let me email about that too. How do I download Microsoft Word to my computer, whichever one's needed for the visualization? Email me about that. The Microsoft Word is free through UT. It's free through UT. So you will go through and do it through Outlook. So Nate, go through Outlook, log into Outlook UTK, and you should see download Word. So UTK Outlook. On UTK Outlook, so let me send you this webpage right here. When you're in UTK Outlook, there should be the download Word. So Nate, I put a link in the chat right there. You should see the UTK Word. 7C is winning out. We'll end the poll right here. And let's go over and do some new topic, 7C. New topic, 7C. Oh, no, well, we got some 7C right here. Let's go check out 7C. This says make a character vector called bad levels that contains offending levels. Then write a command that prints out the total number of values in the name column which are bad, and another command that prints out the fraction. So we need to. You're welcome, Nate. Great job right there. We can probably come back to that, Cole. We're gonna do a little 201 after this, and you bet, Cole, that will probably be next on the docket. So we are going to first find out what's going on with these names of these levels of notebooks. So these are the names of notebooks. And we go right here to look at the by data frame. And we've got here names of notebooks. Now, this is a little bit ridiculous right here. We've just printed out all these notebook names, and you see a lot of them are repeating. But let's go to the levels vector. Now, I want to explain what a levels vector is. We should know what a levels vector is. Do I still have? Oh, I do. Let's go to this. When you look at what a levels vector is, a levels vector, who can explain what a levels vector is? Like when you see the levels vector, explain just in words. Oh, no worry, Nate, no worries. 50 points there, Nate. Can you do 7D? Oh, yeah, I guess we can do it. We can do one next. You got it. You got it. What about the check for homework? Oh, we'll be doing that here next. You bet. 201 right after this. Oh, we need to move that. Yes, yes. We will be moving that. Sorry, lots going on. So that with the no class on... we're going to make sure we cover that. So sometimes I move things if it's like not in the right order. Probably Abigail, I bet. Probably we can come back to that later on. You bet. So with this right here, what is the levels vector? What is the levels vector? Explain in words what the levels vector is. Here's the vector itself, and here's the levels vector for that vector. Exactly. Great job, and great job, Coop, right there. The levels will tell you all the possible answers to that categorical variable. So categorical variables have levels. So if you look at a variable like class level, class right here is a factor and it has levels. So when we think about this variable we're going to be using another variable right here, not this sort of data here. We're looking at the names of notebooks. So it's like you have a company that sells notebooks, and then you have the different names of notebooks you sell, and here's the different names of them. Now, if we go and we look at these names, I'm just making it so I can go to the very top quickly. If we go and look at it, what do you notice? What do you notice very quickly about these names of notebooks? And this is sold through a web page, so you might be like, oh, that's weird. What do you notice about these names of notebooks very quickly? They do? Well, they're very close. This is the black version of this. This is the white version. This is the black version, the white version. Bunch of different names down here. These are all real notebook names. The Avery plus Amy Tangerine designer binders. Some sort of coding right there. That's all right. All this right here. They're all very similar. They all repeat. But do you notice any names of notebooks that are like, what? They're all very similar. You've got your 2-inch notebooks, your 1.5. Do you notice any names of notebook where you're like, that's not a notebook? Is there a name not found? Well, kind of. You're close. You're close. This is actually 404 is a web page error where the web page doesn't load. And apparently, great job, Abigail, right there, 20 points. Apparently, our scraping code or whatever we're doing, Dela, great answer right there, Dela. Another 50 points right there. Dela, great answer. This 404 not found is like a web page thing. That's not the name of a notebook, unless there's some 404 not found notebook. I think that's not correct. So when we go and look at this right here, we can go and extract this and just store into this bad levels. And now we've stored to where we have the bad levels just in one spot. Now, if there was multiple bad levels, we could take right here and we could have something like, maybe something is called broken web page or something. And all this is doing is creating a vector of bad levels right here. And the bad levels vector has in it the names of things we don't think should be there. And I forgot a parentheses. There we go. So now the bad levels vector has two things in it. And we're just pretending that there's another thing we don't want. This does not exist, so I'm going to remove it. But we could create more things than just one bad level. We only have one. So when we look at this, if we go and take a look, how many things have the name bad level or are in bad levels, we want to look at now our notebooks. And we want to see, is it contained in bad levels? And this right here returns what's is, a what vector. I'm going to not do the rest of it. I'm going to explain the rest of it, but I'm not going to do the rest. This returns a what vector. So I'm not going to quite give away the full answer. I'm just going to explain the rest of it from here on out. This is a what kind of vector? What kind of vector do we have right here? A logical. How does R see this in the background? Because it says we want to find the total and a fraction. So print out the total numbers and the fraction. So since this is a logical vector, how does R see logical vectors? Like trues and falses are just what's in the brain of R. Great job, Thacker and Coop. Yep. It's just a logical vector. They're ones and zeros. So you can take the sum of them and find out how many trues there are. And you can take the mean of them and find out the percent of trues. So do remember that if you have a logical vector, you can take the sum of a logical vector, you can take the mean of a logical vector, and that'll just tell you how many trues there are and the percent of trues. So all that information right there can be done with sum and mean. People are wondering about 4D also. The table command produces a vector of integers that gives the frequencies of all the unique values. Much like each column in a data frame is given, each element in the table is a named vector. These names can be extracted. So if we go here and we write a table of the names, here's a table of the names, and we can get the names of the table like this. There's the names of the table. Now, we want to know what two products appear exactly 281 times. Well, for some, we should get how many there are, and for mean, we should get a percentage or like a decimal amount. So the answers for some will be like a total amount of how many things are bad level, and then the answer for mean will be a decimal amount for this percent, if you were to times it by 100. So the mean should give a fraction, and the sum should give a total amount, like how many. Sum will be an integer amount because it'll add up the trues, and then mean will be a number between 0 and 1 because it'll be a decimal fraction for the percent. Great job right there, Abby. Great job. And Zachary Coops right there is writing some notes. Excellent work. And now think about this. When we go to this table, let's look at the table again. You ready? If we're in this table, and I'm going to do this in parts, I'm not going to join all the code. I'm going to kind of make the code, but not join it all. If you were to store your table into X, let's look at X. Let's make X a data frame. Reason being, you'll see in a second. We are trying to find the notebooks that appear exactly 281 times. Does anyone know the answers we should be getting? Do you see the answers? Just tell me something in the answer you should be getting when you look for the notebooks that appear exactly 281 times. And there's our 404 not found. It's 280 times. Maybe hint for another answer. The Avery, great job right there, Coop. We should be getting these notebooks right here, these two versions, the Avery DreamWorks Trolls Durable Binder, this version right here and this version right here. Great job, Abigail. Also, 20 points, both of you right there. We should be getting these as our answers. Can we turn this into an RMD? Need to knit it. You need to knit it. Need to knit. Make sure to knit the file. If it's not knitting, tell me immediately. So we should be getting these. So probably what we need to do, and I'm not writing all the code. I'm not joining all my code. I'm not writing everything. I'm kind of doing the parts of it. So what we want to do is we want to go to the by $name. We want to find out from the table if it is equal to 281. Okay, cool. I'm going to find out which ones. And this tells us the positions. Actually, we could kind of get it from that too. We're very, very close. Take a look at what we have right here. Just break it into parts. This makes a table, like a frequency table. If you're in Stats 1, this is a frequency table. It's a very large one. But this is a frequency table because the question is, what notebook did you buy? And so we have 279 people bought the two-tone durable view binder. So this is a frequency table right here. Then we're doing a logical test to see if the value in the frequency table has 281. And then we can see trues or falses right here. And wherever we see a true, which there should eventually be some trues. Eventually. They're here somewhere. It's where those Avery DreamWorks notebooks are. They're here somewhere. I promise you. Wow.
Wow.
I thought I'd find it a lot quicker than this. What time? Oh. 3, 2, 1. I must have totally passed it. Oh! Totally worth it to do that. There's one of them. We can stop. And that's because it has, and you see how long this takes if you try to do it by yourself. Well, we can just do the which right here, and the which will return the positions of those. So the which returns the positions. You could do lots of different things right here, like unname this to just get the positions. And those are the positions of the notebooks, Notebook 153 and Notebook 155. We do have the names of it. But from here, it wants you to do what? Now be careful what you need to return. So thus, develop a code that uses which table names. We've used a lot of those things down here. And then prints to the screen the names of the two products that appear exactly 281 times. So I have a lot of stuff right here, a lot of stuff that you can work with. And this is not the answer. But is this making more sense? Who's working on this right now is working with your table to extract names, to remove names, to find positions in the table, and to find exactly that. This is very close to the right answer. It also kind of shows what the answer should be as a logical check. So I think this is pretty good because we kind of have the logical check of the answer. And from here, we should be able to get the answer just kind of being like, okay, they want to know the names of these notebooks. Like corporate says, what are the names of the notebooks that have sold 281 times? Or I've heard these notebooks have sold 281 times. Which notebooks? Not which, but what notebooks are these? They don't want to know the numbers of the notebooks. This is not the answer. They want to know the names of the notebooks. How are we doing 474? Does this make sense? Who is along the way on this question right here where you can find the names of the notebooks? How are we doing? We're going to do some 201 and then come back to some 474, I think. So 474, we're doing all right. Well, that'll take names of 281. I think I don't know what that'll do, because so that would take the names of 281. Kind of close. Run your code, see if it gets you what you want. Run your code, see if it gets you what you want. So run the code and be like, does that get me what I want? If it doesn't, Merrick, because we kind of know what the answer. Corporate saying, what are the notebooks that have sold 281 times? I think it wants both. It wants both. So it wants to know how many, and it wants to know what fraction of a percent. So it wants to know how many and what fraction. You got it, Coop. You got it, Coop. Little bits. Little bits. Keep working on those tiny little bits right there. I think Tiffany wanted quiz number 4. I have a meme I'm going to show to Chelsea. I got to show her both of those. Memes. Seeing people getting work done. Yay! You will turn in the knitted document. You will turn in the knitted document. Correct. Make sure it is knitted. Always knit early. Always knit early. Always try knitting your document to see if it knits. If it doesn't knit, let me know. A lot of times I help out a lot more in 320 with getting things knitted, and then in 474 I still help out, but I might be like, we need to get this fixed up, especially as the semester goes on. Tiffany, was there a specific question 4 thing? Oh yes, you did. You posted about some box plots. You posted about some box plots. Let me find that question. Can you do? Yep, we can go back. We're going to do some 474. Come back here in a moment. Tiffany had some 201 questions. So 201 questions coming right up here. Chapter 4 homework and the quiz. Oh wait, and we haven't covered it, correct? And then Tiffany, I think you were wondering about a box plot question or two. Box plot. When comparing the box plots of 2 graphs, which of the following should be done? Let's find that. Oh, we can start off with this one right here. Let's go. Can you... I've got the when comparing the box plots question. New topic right here. And let's do the comparing the box plots, and we'll do a few more 201. Then we'll come back here. Can I say my code? Yep. We'll take a look. Abby, definitely send me that code. I will take a look. Let's go take a look. When comparing new topic right here, new topic 201, chapter 4. Great job working on this. We got this. When comparing the box plots of 2 groups, which should be done? Now with this right here, it's going to be a little tricky. Box plots can show you outliers. So do we have any jump data open right now? We should. We've also got some jump data open. Here's a box plot right here. These are outliers in a box plot, so we can definitely check for possible outliers. That's a definite yes right there. Compare the medians, which group is the highest. The median in a box plot is going to be this line right here. The median is the line at the middle of the box plot. You can see that's at 45, so we can compare the medians. And we can compare if things are symmetric or skewed. It's very easy to see this box plot right here is skewed to the left with these outliers here. Now, I do want to say this box plots are not your best view of skew. 50 points on the line right here. What is your best way to look at skew? What is the best visualization? It's on the screen to look at skew in the shape of a distribution. What is one of the best ways to look at the shape of a distribution? One of the best ways to look at the shape of the distribution is by looking at its what? By looking at a what? One of the best ways to look at the shape of a distribution is to look at the what? Another univariate display of quantitative data known as a what? Another univariate display of quantitative data. Correct, we can look at the tail of a what? You are correct, ditto right there, again, the 50 points. We can look at the tail of a what? Not a bar graph, not a bar graph though. Bar graphs are going to be univariate categorical. So box plots go with what? Box plots are another univariate display of quantitative. So you can see right here on the screen, we've got here box plots also go with what other graphic? Good review right here. Box plots also go with what? So bar charts and pie charts go together because you can make a pie of your bar charts and a bar of your pie charts, or pie chart of your favorite bars, bar chart of your favorite pies. So box plots go with what? Box plots and what's go together displaying data. And you can see it here on this screen. Box plots also go with what? Box plots also go, you can see it below it. Box plots also go with what? Box plots also go with what? They are quantitative, that is correct, univariate quantitative. And what's below the box plot right here? There's the box plot. And what's below it? Not quite a bar chart. Remember, we don't call it a bar chart. Bar charts are for good guess right there. Good guess. Oh, good to see you, Brendan. Good to see you. 50 points, everybody. Keep thinking about it. I want you to look at the graphics on the screen right here. Box plots also go with what? What's that graphic below it? A box plot also goes with a what? We've got the hints on the screen. Ditto right there. You got it. A histogram. So that's the word you might not hear as often. It kind of looks like a bar chart. I do agree it looks like a bar chart, but this is not a bar chart because bar charts are what kind of data? Let's review real quickly. Bar charts are for what kind of data? Bar charts, which this is right here, a bar chart is for what kind of data? So this is a bar chart, and a bar chart is for what kind of data? Univariate what? This is a bar chart. Bar charts are for univariate what? Which we could make this a pie chart. If you notice right here, I can just go back to the graph builder portion and easily just go here and make it a pie chart. I can go bar chart, pie chart, bar chart, pie chart. This is when we are doing a what? And I think I am on live chat. Good. Bar charts are for what kind of data? Very important right here. Categorical. And if you notice, the number line on the bottom is key because you can tell that this is categorical over here. And then on the number, so ditto, this is a great way to remember it. On the number line, you can see quantitative numbers. So histograms, and we'll see it in the graphic here again, histograms up there in the top corner, you can see it over there. Histograms are for univariate quantitative, and box plots are for univariate quantitative. Bar charts and pie charts up there at the top are for univariate categorical. Great graphic to have. Take a screenshot. These are things that we should know pretty well, and we've been doing a lot of them in class. So we see right here, I think all of them, we can compare the shapes of them, if they're skewed or symmetric. And the IQR of a box plot is going to be the box of a box plot. This is the IQR. If you hover over it, it'll actually show you. We can pin this. The IQR is going to be this box from here to here. 2.85, which is down here, to 3.56, which is right here. That is the box, which is the IQR of the box plot. And that should be everything. Yep, we've done it. Good questions right there and good review of data. Like if you get to this question, you might just be like, click, 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 click. But these are all things that could be true falses right here. Like, can we look for outliers in box plots? Definitely. Can we compare the medians of box plots? Definitely. The box plots has the median right there. We can definitely compare the median of a box plot. Can compare the shape and look to see if they're symmetric or skewed. You bet. You can see that this has a little skew to the left. And you can tell because the tail is longer down here. And this is where outliers begin. This is the start of outliers. This is actually the maximum, and there are no outliers. So we'll be talking about more box plots next time. Compare the IQRs. You bet we can compare the IQRs. We don't actually have multiple box plots yet. And now we're about to. Let's go here to gender and compare the GPAs of gender. And you'll notice this is a what type of display? This is a what type of display? And we're actually doing the next visualization question. This is a what type of display right here? What kind of display is this? This is a what type of display? And I just did the visualization number 3 right here, or part of it. This is a what type of display? So box plots are quantitative. So we're displaying a quantitative variable here, and then we have it broken apart into 2 groups. So this is what we call side-by-side box plots. This is side-by-side box plots, and let's take a look. Side-by-side box plots are right over here, which means it's a what type of display? So since it's in these regions, this is a what type of display? Side-by-side box plots are a what type of display? Because now I have side-by-side box plots where I have 2 of them. We're displaying GPA and we have it broken apart by gender. So side-by-side box plots are what type of display? Here's the hint. 20 points on the line right here. Side-by-side box plots are what type of display? Here's the hint again. I'll do it next. Not bimodal, but bivariate. Bimodal would mean two bumps. And so these could be bimodal distributions, but bivariate. Bivariate means we're displaying two variables, like we're asking two questions. Good review right here. So bivariate, we have gender and we have GPA. So we're asking two questions. To collect this data, you'd have to say, what is your gender to somebody? And then how much is your GPA? I say how much because it's quantitative. And then look at this. We can compare. Males have a lower median. Sorry, males, probably my fault. And then males have a little bit more outliers. We can see here the maximum GPA for a male, the maximum GPA for a female, the median GPA for females, the median GPA for males, the IQR for females, the IQR for males. And this is where outliers begin. And these are the start of outliers here. So these are the female outliers, the ones that are pretty far away from the central distribution of the data. And that's what an outlier is, things that are pretty far away. Tiffany has another one here. We'll head back over here. Oh no, it's the crowd crush one. Heading back over to the main screen, we're going to do another 201. We'll try and maybe do two more here. And then we'll head back. I couldn't tell you're holding two fingers and making a V. That's V for Vendetta. It's a good movie. Let's go check out another question right here. And here we go. Let's check out this question. Here we go. New topic, Stat 201, Crowd Crush, new topic. Okay. Crowd management strategies monitors accents at rock concerts. I want to rock. In their database, they list the names and other variables of victims whose deaths are attributed to crowd crush at rock concerts. That's when you get in the mosh pit. I don't know. Here are the histograms and box plots of the victims' ages for data from this is very happy data. Let's go look at that data set. Oh, what do we got right here? Name these graphics. You should know the names of these graphics. Univariate quantitative data. We have the age of individuals. How old are you? This is showing the same thing. This is the same data displayed in a blank and displayed in a blank. And it kind of tells you what these are. Show you're following along right here. What are the names of these graphics? You should be able to be like, oh, that's a blank and that's a blank. For those watching the video later, here's the all graphics again. And so these are univariate quantitative. So we are seeing a what and a what on the screen. Histogram, great job, Tiffany, right there, 20 points. This is a histogram, not a bar chart, not a bar chart, not a bar chart. And this is a box plot. It's showing the same thing right here, the same sort of thing. Do you see this individual right here? That's them over here. Do you see this individual here? That's them over here. These are outliers. These are old people, like someone in their 40s, which I'm about to be. That's old. Sad. Right here, we just have the box plot showing us the individuals. And you can see here the median age in the box plot and the IQR of the box plot. Also the minimum age. What is a 12-year-old doing at a concert? That's weird. Okay, let's take a look at these questions. What features of the distribution are seen in the histogram and the box plot? So they're saying it's essentially symmetric. All these say essentially symmetric. Well, it's either right skewed or left skewed. You might guess because there's more of one answer, but right to the high, left to the low, there's our rabbit buddy right there. Whatever way the tail goes. I did a bad screenshot. Right to the high, left to the low, whatever way the tail goes. We draw our little monster man. Here's our little monster man. Got his little monster man tail. And you can also tell over here that this is pulled out to the right side, to the high. So when we say right to the high, left to the low, we're talking about this is the high side. That's the right. And his tail goes to the right. If it was low, these are the low numbers, and that's the left. Monster Man's tail tells you the direction of the skew. Kind of the best way to do it on the easiest way. So it's definitely right skewed. Definitely right skewed. With two high outliers. And there was definitely, we saw there was a 36-year-old and a 48-year-old. Was that 48? I guess it is. That's about 48. There's the 36-year-old. There's the 48. The parents could not find a second beers. They're like, oh man, Kiss is in town. Is that what the kids listen to these days, Kiss? Or maybe Led Zeppelin? I don't know. Are they still around? So we know it's this one right here or this one. Most victims are between 24 to 30 or 16 to 24. The central age of victims, fun talks, right? Do you see how this goes from about 16 right here to low 20s? 24 to 30 is from here to here. The box plot is the middle 50% of the data. So the central age of victims is from 16 to 24. Is that 16? It looks more like 18-ish. But most victims, 16 would be about here to 24. That's way more than 50%. So it's definitely this. And we have right here, there's 2 high outliers, most victims. I think that's got it because... Ooh, they're trying to trick us. You see with this 24... That's a good trick, my Pearson. You're almost making me second question it. 20... No, it can't be. 24 to 30 is in this range here. Most victims are 24 to 30. No, because you see, this is the central age of victims is down here, centered around about 20, and this is centered around about 20. Good trick, and that actually gives it away. This right here, if you just look at this one, if yours looks like mine, that one gives it away because, once again, the box plot is showing us where the concentration of data is. You can also see here, 16 would be about here, 24 would be about here, 24 to 30 is going to be from here to here. This is not where most victims are at. So the answer is definitely this. I'm more than convinced than ever. Which feature of the distribution can be seen in the histogram that cannot be seen in the box plot? Histograms show us the what better. Histograms show us the what better. This is a good test question. Histograms show us the what better than a box plot. Remember when we describe univariate quantitative data, we have shape, center, spread. Histograms show us the what of a distribution better. This has been on the test before. Like a histogram will give you a better idea of the what of a distribution. Good test question. The histogram, because like why would you use a histogram or a box plot? Box plot's really good at showing you the 5-number summary. Histogram and box plot, so we do have the outliers on both, and we do kind of see the spread on both. What a monster, man. Good answers, everybody. 20 points, all these answers in the chat. We can see the outliers on both of them. We can see spread on both of them to some degree. Like here's the spread right here. Here's the spread right here. IQR is the spread. Those are measures of spread. Shape, center, spread. What do you notice in the histogram? You can see a little bit of bimodality. You can't see this second peak right here, like this second peak or even this first peak. The histogram is going to give you a better idea of the shape of a distribution. So there's a slight increase right here. You can see it right there. The slight increase is apparent in the histogram in maybe a second mode. So there could be a modal area. So the histogram is going to give you a much better idea of the shape of it. This, you cannot see that over here. You can't see the second possible mode, the concentrations of data, the modality of it. So histograms, good note to take, are a much better way to look at shape. Histograms give you a much better idea of shape than box plots do. What summary statistics would we use to summarize this? Okay, so we want to summarize the center. There's only 2 options for center. Put the 2 options for center. This is something you should know really quickly. The 2 options for center are what or what? And they're on the screen right now. The 2 options for center are what or what? And then I won't even show you the next 2 for spread. The 2 options for center are going to be what or what? Good review. Mean or median. And this is skewed, so which one will we use? So this is definitely skewed with outliers. It's got some right skew and outliers. So since it's skewed and has outliers, and Carly, great job, 50 points following along. Since it's skewed with outliers, we should definitely use the median. Exactly. So the median would be most appropriate because there's right skew, slight skew, and extreme outliers. So the median. Now, I'm not going to show you the next ones. Spread has what 2 things? Spread, there's actually 3. There's the range. Not a big fan of the range because it's heavily impacted by outliers. There's the range, and then we have the next 2, which are super important, that are connected to these previous 2. For the spread of the data, we have the what? This is a good question. The spread of the data, we have what 2. So try not to look at the answers because we can figure out our own answer. Standard deviation or IQR, Finch, amazing work, Finch. And so the mean is connected to the standard deviation. The median is connected to the IQR. Make sure I don't select the wrong answer. So which one of these should we use? So we either use the standard deviation with the mean or we use the IQR with the median. So we're definitely going to use the what here because we've said we should use the median for the measure of center. And now it's an easy choice to say, oh, when we do spread, we're also going to use this. And I want to point something out to you while people put the answer in the chat. In jump output, you will see with histograms. Take a look over here. Mean, standard deviation, median, and IQR are next to each other. So it literally puts the mean and standard deviation next to each other because they go together. And it puts also the median and the IQR next to each other. Real quick question, just for practice, who can find the IQR of this data set? This is if you know how to do it pretty quickly, and that could be a test question. If you know how to find the IQR, you'd like, please put that on the test. Please just say find the IQR. Like if I gave you a picture of this right here and I said find the IQR, this is all you get. And Finch is just destroying it right now. Great job, Finch, right there. It is 80. Would you like that as a test question that just said find the IQR? You'd be like, oh, it's just the distance the Q3 is away from the Q1. It's the range of the middle 50%. If you notice right here, this is how far these two numbers are apart, which is the range of the middle 50% of the data. So that's a great test question right there, analyzing jump output. We don't make you use jump on the test. We could have you look at output. And because of the extreme outliers, I think we've selected everything correctly. Not today, my Pearson, not today. Let's do one more 201. And so what will be the last 201 question? What will be the last 201 question? Let's head back here. And then we'll do another 474. Another 201, chapter 4. What else 201, chapter 4 shall we do? What else 201, chapter 4 shall we do? Can we look at 4F? Yeah, Thacker, I think we could do that. Yep, we'll jump back here. We're going to do one more 201, and then we're going to do one or two more 474s. What should we do? 201. Last call on 201 here. And thank you so much, everyone. Class of 4th graders takes diagnostic reading test. Let's do it. I appreciate so much everyone swinging by. I know it can be like, whoa, there's a lot of people here, a lot of questions. That's what makes it awesome. You make it awesome. Let's do it here. Lab number 9. I think we can do that. Thacker's question and Carly's will be the last two right here. We will do Thacker and Carly's questions last. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of questions on this quiz. I need more coffee. This quiz is taking a long time to load. I'm looking. Come on, my Pearson. You can do it. You can do it, my Pearson. We will find that class of 4th graders. Sounds weird. Ah, we found it. Let's go do it. Here we go. New question, new topic. Here we go. Let's check it out. Okay, we're going to try to get to everything. Let's do this. I think we did Abby also. Let's do this. Abigail. So a class of 4th graders takes a diagnostic reading test. Here we have the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is what values? This is not the data, but it can help. What is the 5-number summary? Go ahead and try to put it in the chat if you know what the 5-number summary is. The 5-number summary is, just wait for it, the minimum value, the Q1, the median, the Q3, and the max. If you're ever confused on this, just draw 4 quarters in your data and put lines between them. What you'll notice here is that if these are quarters, which I need to disappear now, if these are quarters and you start adding them up, here you would be at the maximum value, here you'd be at the minimum value, here's the median value, and the reason we call this Q1 is because it's 25th percentile of the data, and the reason we call this Q3 is because it's the 75th. So just think of 4 quarters of your data. I know it doesn't look evenly spaced on the highlighted yellow portions, but this is what you're getting right here. These numbers you see over here are the 5-number summary. They've summarized this data for you. So these aren't the observations. These are a summary of the observations. There could be like 100 students in this class, but they've summarized this data for you. They've summarized this data. So which group had the highest score? Well, the maximum's over here. This is definitely going to be the girls. The girls had a highest score of 5.9. Which group had the greatest range? The range is max minus min. So we need to do the maximum minus the minimum. It looks to be the girls right here because they have the highest high and the lowest low. So 5.9 minus 2.3. 3.6, that is the girls. You could find the boys' range also, but the girls' range, lower low, higher high, and you can tell the girls. The boys' range is 3.4. Which group has the greatest interquartile range? Now, it's important we know from our drawing right here, what is the interquartile range of the boys? Take a moment in the chat right here, find the interquartile range of the boys. Take a moment right here, find the interquartile range of the boys. Remember how this data looks? I'm showing you what the 5-number summary looks like up here, and I want you to find the interquartile range for the boys. The interquartile range is Q1 minus Q3. You can see right here it is for this. So what is the interquartile range for the boys? Take a moment, see if you can solve this. What is the interquartile range for the boys? because this is a summary of min, Q1, median, Q3 max. So which they labeled that above, but this is the min, Q1, median, Q3 max. Min, Q1, median, Q3 max. And you can see over here the same sort of thing, just better outlined. So what is the IQR for the boys? What is the IQR for the boys? The IQR stands for the interquartile range. It's the range of the middle 50%. It's how far are these two numbers apart right here. So on this graphic, it is 80 because these two numbers are 80 apart, as in 120 are 80 apart. So what is the interquartile range for the boys? What is the interquartile range for the boys? It's always a positive number. It's just a distance. It's just a range, just how far are these numbers apart. Think interquartile range, IQ range, so the range of the middle 50%. So it's just the interquarters, which these are, the middle 50%. What is the IQR for the boys? 1.1, great job right there. Tiffany, Bradley, great job also. And the IQR for the girls is going to be 1.2 because we're just taking 5.3 and we're subtracting 4.1. That is the mathematics right there. We're just taking Q3 minus Q1. So the girls had a greater IQR. So the girls have the greater IQR at 1.2. And which group generally did better on the test? Well, the girls had a higher median. So the girls did better on the reading test because the median of girls was higher than the median of the boys. I think that's right. Because the upper quartile, and we're just going to go by medians. We don't have mean in here. We don't have the mean yet. Now here's the tough one. Here's a really tough one. This one gets people. If the mean for the reading for boys was 4.3 and the mean for the reading of girls was 4.6, what is the overall mean of the class? Now there's 12 boys. There were 12 boys in this class. So if we were to look at what the boys scored, 12 boys had an average of this. So the boys had 51.6 points. Who understands? I need a yes or no in the chat. This is the one that confuses people. The 12 boys had an average of 4.3. So if we divide this by 12, we will get the average for the boys. So this is how many points the boys scored. Does that make sense? The boys had an average of 4.3 for 12 boys. Does this make sense right here? Why I'm multiplying this by 12 to see the boys earn 51.6 points, which on average for the 12 boys would be the 4.3. So to find out how many points the boys had, I can do this. Does that make sense? That's a key part to this question. The boys had an average of 4.3 for 12 boys, so we just times it by 12 to find out how many points the boys got. So we're going to copy that for the moment. The girls had an average of 4.6, which means for the 11 girls, they earned a total of 50.6 points. Because think we have to average this. That means 11 girls on average had this. So if we times that by 11, we find out how many points the girls had. This is how many points the boys plus the girls had. What was that number I just had for the boys? It didn't copy. 50.6. Remember 50.6. We are adding 50.6, the boys plus the girls' points. Now I need you to tell me, what am I going to divide this by? What number will I divide this by? This is how many points were earned. There was a total of 102.2 points because I just figured out how many points did the boys get, how many points total did the girls get, because these were the averages, so I'm multiplying by how many there were to find out how many total points there were. I need to then divide this by what? Tiffany, amazing work, Tiffany, right there. That is then the average for boys and girls, and it goes to 4.4. And you notice there's slightly more boys than girls. That's why the average is not 4.45, and that's one of the toughest ones. This one right here catches people off guard all the time because what they usually do is they just do 4.6 plus 4.3, and they divide by 2, and that's not going to work because there's more boys than girls, so the number is a little bit closer to the boys' average. Great job, Bradley and everybody. Does this make sense? That one catches people off guard all the time because you're doing like a weighted average right here. You're saying, okay, there were 12 boys, so we need to multiply this by how many boys there were to find out how many points the boys earned. There were 11 girls, so let's multiply this by 11 to find out how many points the girls earned, and then let's divide by how many total there are to get the new average for boys and girls. That's a tough one. That one, I've had instructors say, wait, why is that not 4.45? Not going to which one, but anyways. Let's do 2 more questions right here. And I'm going to go grab some lunch for class. Let's do some 474. Thank you so much, 201. Good job, good review, and I know people are going to be using this later. Some of the videos get almost 700 views, so thank you if you're here asking your questions and following along. If you're following along, you're getting a ton of points, so great job. And I want to say this once again, I mean this totally. I've used this analogy lately, and I think it works perfectly. Can we do, I think we're going to try to do 2 questions right here because I need to grab some lunch. We got lab 9. I think we did number 2 at the start. Didn't we do number 2 at the start? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're not in my class, we did acquisition, the number 2, Taylor, we did that during class today. We did number 9. I was thinking lab 2, number 2. I think people were wondering about this. Let's do 2 questions right here. We might have to come back for later day office hours to do the other ones. So, okay, let's take, if you're in 474, we did number 7. I'm not in class right now, but I have to take stats 201 next year. Oh, Bradley, that's so awesome. Brad, I'm throwing 100 points for Brad being right here. Brad, tell me, I'll try to give you some points back next year. So I reset the points. Brad, that's awesome. We greatly appreciate that, Brad. Just practicing, learning some stats, that's the way to go. So you're like, hey, I'm just chilling out. Let me just hop on the stream and earn some stats. Having some fun. Let's see right here. Let's see. Put what you want to do for 74 in the chat. We'll do 2. We're going to do the 2 top votes. Number 9. Okay, so we got, tell me what you want to do. So 474 choices. We're going to do 2 of these. I'm going to grab some lunch. We've got number 9. Number 9 lab. What else? What else? Number 9 lab. 8C homework. And then anything else? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Those will be the 2 we do. If you're here, you get to pick. We'll see if there's any other choices. If there's no other choices, it'll be number 9 and then 8C. And then Ryan's going to go grab some lunch. We'll be back later today, and we have like an hour and a half later today. 10 seconds. 9, 8. We might just do these. Let's go look at some number 9 right now, and then we'll come back and we'll do 8C. Okay, we got the 2 items we're going to do. Thank you for being here. If you're here, you get the choices done. New topic, number 9 on the lab. Let's go check this out. Here we go. The department data frame in the global environment contains the total amounts of money that 2,500 customers, 1 for each row of Kroger, have spent in each of the 43 departments, 1 for each column. For example, the automotive contains the amounts of each household spent on the items belonging to an automotive department. Your task is to create a data frame called FRAC that instead contains the fraction of money spent by each household of each of the 43 departments, a number between 0 and 1. Okay, cool. Each row will sum up to 1. The automotive column of FRAC will contain the fraction of total money spent on the household items. Left arrow into FRAC. Left arrow department into FRAC. Okay, cool. Let's do that. So we're going to go right here and left arrow department into FRAC. I don't think we have department yet. Let's run all chunks above. There we go. Make sure you have your data sets loaded in or you won't have this load. And now we have FRAC loaded in. Develop a for loop that goes row by row by row and replaces the values in the ith row of FRAC by the desired fraction value. If you run table, apply, blah, 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 on your finished data frame, you should get a frequency table of da, da, da. Okay, so we need to know the fraction of each household. Let's go look at this real quick. So this is a household key. I don't really care for household key. This is what people are spending on cosmetics. This house right here looks to have spent a lot of money on what? I need your help here. I need your help. This first household right here seems to be spending a lot of money on what at Kroger right now? Ooh, okay, there's what they're spending their money on. I mean, obviously, it's Kroger. What is this household spending their money on? What did you notice this household is spending their money on? On the deli, on the groceries. Great job right there. Great job. Some 20 points in the chat. On the deli, on the groceries, a little bit on pastries. You got to buy some pastries right there. This house is buying a lot of kiosk gas. This house is doing that. They're also buying a lot of groceries too. Okay, so we want to know the fraction the house is spending. Okay, so let's go and take a look at this right here. Let's do it for the first one only. So if I go here and go to FRAC and go to the first row, this is the first customer. Now, I don't want the household key. The household key is garbage. You know what I might do? FRAC $ household key. It's gone. So no longer do we have the household key. If you notice right here, we now have no household key for this individual. And I like that because the household key is not Really going to be definitely. We'll probably do that next. Swing by to later day office hours because I need to grab some lunch. I teach in 37 minutes, so I'm going to try to grab some lunch between this and that. Swing by later day office hours. We'll get that done, Mike. Thank you so much for swinging by. We're in overtime right now, but no, that's why we're hanging out doing a little more work. So you see here we have the frac 1, and just tell me what this is reporting. What is Brian looking at right here by doing frac, which is a data frame, and going to 1 comma? What are we doing right here? You're welcome, Mike. Thank you so much. Positivity from Mike, 20 points right there. What are we reporting right here? What are we reporting? What the first person, or the first household, yep, what the first household spends their money on. What if I do the following? Now, what do I get right here? What's that? What's that? Just explain to me what that is. Just be like, oh, you now found the what? Just keep like thinking like, what does that do? The total spent by the first person. Does that make sense? Not the total, like, I think people are saying like the total spent by the first person. Because we're only going to the first row right here and we're finding the total spent by the first person. So why don't we take all these values, which we have all their values, and why don't we take all those values and divide by how much that person spent, and look what we get. Now, if you'll notice, what you'll notice about this vector, which is completely messy, is we are getting, let me erase it so we can look at just that vector. You'll notice that this person has large values over here. Some other places they must have large values too. But I'm guessing if I take the sum of this, which it should, it equals up to 1. So now we're taking what a person spends for each value and dividing by the total. Let's do this for the first customer. You know what? Let's do this for department instead, our original data frame. And now let's go here and let's go to frac and let's store into frac position 1, row 1. So we're just storing into row 1. And then let's go look at the frac data set and oh, what do you notice? We have now replaced, especially HBC, what is that? Well, that's where they're spending their money, it looks like. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, wait. I have an issue. Maybe I shouldn't have deleted that. It's because I deleted that key right there. Maybe we need to do the -1 on it. Would be better. So we're doing the department. Let me do -1 on this. Let me take a look. So you always got to look at what you create, see if it makes sense. So, sense. We want to make No! Let's look at the frac data set again. That's because I deleted out the house key. By deleting out the house key, that was a bad thing for a moment. Okay, we're good. Does everyone notice right here the grocery? And this is why you do checks. Like if I had not looked and saw that this person spent most of their money on groceries, I might have been like, I guess that's right. And then I'd have an error in what I create. But because I deleted off the household key, I have to remove that from computation. I know, perfect dad joke. I had to remove that, and it's in the first spot right here. So this does the sum. It does the sum of everything for department minus the household key. And then we have the department right here minus the household key. Love some dad jokes. Oh, no, I'm not a dad. It's uncle jokes. Call them uncle jokes for Brian. Oh, man. I've finally succumbed to I am an uncle. Not like now Brian is finding the what. He's doing it for the what person. And I mean, let's just sit here. How many customers do we have? Okay, let's just do this. We have 2,500 customers. This is going to take all day. Anyone got any suggestions? This is going to take quite a while. We've got 2,500 customers. Anyone got any advice for Brian to help out? It looks like it's doing it. These are just very small numbers. It is finding how much people spend on pastries. My husband does dad jokes. He's not a dad. What do you suggest we do right here? Because I can just keep sitting here all day and writing this out such that we can make this work and do it for the next person. This is the Skelly. We're going to do a for loop right here. And we've got it. We've got the skeleton for the for loop. Let's just take one of these. And let's go right here to the variable. Let's go to this person. And no, we don't want that. Let's go to this Kroger customer. Oh my gosh. And let's go 1 through the length. We'll go 1 through the number of rows of frac, which this is just going to give us a vector of 1 through 2500. It did a max print. I promise you it's 1 through 2500 because n row is the number of rows in frac, and you can see it right there. So now when we do this, we just need to put the placeholder to change. That's a rather large placeholder. It's okay. I don't like it anymore. It's going to be I. It can be anything. I is just going to be much easier to work with, much smaller, and we need what we want to change. If you notice, this is what changes as we run the code, and that should do it. Frac should now be, and it says we can do a check right here. Oh, oof. Got something weird happening. Let's run the check code to see if it worked. It says running this should get us the result. That took a little bit longer than I like. I've got a good computer here, and that took a little longer. Yeah, it worked. If you didn't delete household key, then you might not need to, but check. Because you don't want household key in there because you don't want to sum up the household key. The household key is not something you want to use because that's not that's not like an amount spent. Why do you have the -1? Because we're removing the household key. Because in the department data set, the first variable is household key. I deleted off the household key from mine. Frankly, you could also delete the household key from department. You could leave that on. You could append it back on after you make your data set. So you could store the household key as a vector outside the data frame and then append it back on afterwards. But the household key is not an amount spent. So you want to make sure you're not using household key because people are not spending household key. Household key is just a household key. So we don't want to use this in our sum. Household key is like exactly, what we could do is you could go right here, like if you want to be really smart about this. What we got here? 30 minutes till class. You could go to row names, and the row names for department could be department, and then you could go right here and go $ household key. So now, you could do this, the row names, so we have like the key as the row names. It's still position 1, but it's row name, makes it a little bit confusing. Now I'll go back to the code right here. But this is how we did this right here. So this is a good start to this. I'm not going to quite show the answer for it, but this has done it. This has created. Do remember this, though. What did we first do? We first wrote our skeleton, and we made sure it worked on one individual circumstance. We made sure it worked on one circumstance, one instance of it, and then we went through and looped it over the remaining ones. So make sure to do this in practice. These take a little bit of time to practice and do. But just be like, okay, I want to do this for one individual. So you're just doing one. All you're doing is just writing a code that works one time and then just turning it into a loop. So sometimes the harder part is writing the code to make it work one time, and then you just have to get it to loop. So you first need the code that works, and then you get it to loop. Don't try writing your loop from scratch to start. Get your code that works. What is the first thing you always see Brian doing when he's writing his for loops? Real quick question, we'll do the final 474 question. What is the thing you always see Brian doing when he writes his for loops? You always see Brian doing this when he writes his for loops. He always starts by doing what? Brian always starts his for loops by writing his what? Which is, some people are going to jump in, they'll be like, I'm just going to write the full for loop. No, don't do that. Get your this first. You always see me doing this. Hop back to the main screen. You always see me doing this. And this is the way to do it. Write that skeleton right there. Carly, right there, some 50 points. Write that skeleton. Write that skeleton. Write that skeleton. Write that skeleton. Get that skeleton to work. And then for loop it. Write that skeleton. Get that skeleton to work. And then for loop it. Don't write the full for loop and be like, I'm just going to write the full. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're coder than me. The other one we had, the other question we're going to do here, and then we're going to head off. Brian's going to grab some food. Is 8C from the homework. Let's go check out some 8C from the homework. 8C. We will do one part of 8C right here. This is sanity checks to make sure. Let's do one of the 8Cs. We've got some of the other parts in other videos, so check out those other videos if you want. Let's do one of these right here. I think we're doing 8C, and then we'll do more later. With the last statement, Abigail's been asking. We're going to do Abigail's question. Thank you. Abigail's been here the whole time. Thank you so much, Abigail. Let's do the last part of 8C. We will do other parts later. and they might be in other videos, but we will be back later because I'm going to be teaching in 27 minutes and I haven't eaten. Let's do this. When stock is in either low or high, so let's put a chunk in. Chunk. I like to write my chunks, or I like to write my code next to where I do my coding. So I like to write my code up right where the question is. When stock is in either low or high, the value of sellers should not equal 0. Violated when stock is either in low or high and sellers is equal to 0. Okay, so let's go here to the which data frame. We are using the priced fixed vector. No. We are using which vector? We're using the buy data frame, right? And stock. Here we go. Good. So we've got stock has a few different values. How can we find out if stock is in either low or high? I need your help with this. How can we find out if a stock is in either low or high? How can we find out if stock is in either low or high? And I like to do it that stock is contained in low, high, or in stock is either in or low. How can we find out if stock is either in or low? How can we figure out those? How can we figure out if it's contained in or low? So we want to look at stock. You got it, Abigail. Great job right there. And let's see if it's in here. And this is going to return a logical now. There we go. So that's if it's that. The value of seller should not equal 0. So we don't want value of seller to equal 0. So we want to look at these right here. And then we want to find out, we're one condition away right here. All we need to do now is we need to find out the seller, or no, wait, what is it? The value of sellers is equals 0. And now this right here are instances when the stock is one of these values, and also the sellers is equal to 0. And now we're just one step away. And we want to find out the percent of violations. Oh, looks like we got it. So the biggest thing is think about how to write the conditions right here. We have that somebody's value of stock is contained in or low, and the buyers right here are equal to 0. So this is a logical vector right here, and then we can take the mean of a logical vector to find out how many things meet this condition. This is the percent of trues right here. And I think that's got it. I'm going to go grab some lunch. Why is it equals? Oh, so this would be they do not have 0. Let me think. Violated when stock is in either this and sellers is equal to 0. This would be something that does not violate the condition. And we got to be careful, though, because this wouldn't exactly work. Let me double check. Let me think about this. I'm sure we don't have an error. Why is the equals and not equals? Are you doing when it violates? Correct. Are we doing when things violate the condition? I think we are, right? I think we're doing when they violate the condition, right? Use the mean of a logical to determine the fraction of rows that violate each constraint. Yep. So they would need to violate the constraint. They would have to have stock that is in either this or this. So they have to be one of these two. And the buyers have to be equal, and the sellers have to be equal to 0. So this would be things that violate it because it meets these two conditions. That their stock is in this and this, and right here, you can see the and. So you can kind of read it. Buy stock, I wish I could point to it. The buy stock is contained in this or this. There's the in this or this, and the sellers is equal to 0, and the sellers is equal to 0. Awesome, great job, go Vols. Thank you, Abigail, so much. And all you have to do is work on these things, get stuck, ask questions. I know it's a lot of work. You can just feel your brain expanding as you're working. I think that's got it. We'll be back later today with more questions. I'll be seeing everyone soon. As we know what we say here, we say bye for now.